And there it is. Thanks. Chris is helping us with all the tech stuff. Um, so those recordings are available to you to go watch again if you want to, or if you miss something. And that's on the Mindfulness Center of Atlanta on our website. And there's a tab there for Mindfulness for the Moment. So you can go there and find the recordings and other resources. If I make mention of a resource or I use a poem or something, then we often put them there as well. Um, so before we get started, I'm going to give a few reflections and then we'll do a practice together. Before we do though, why don't we maybe just take a moment to post in the chat where you're tuning in from, what part of the world, town, country, state, city, whatever. Margaret's from the Midwest here, Charleston. Flowery Branch, that's in Georgia. Serenbe, nice part of Georgia, coming. It's great to see all of you. And we're likely to be joined by others as we go. So I want to just speak for a few minutes, a little reflection, and we'll do this from time to time, kind of a topical thing. And I was thinking about this. We just a few days ago entered the month of February, and so maybe some of us are thinking about Valentine's Day approaching. So I was thinking about that a little bit, and I thought it might be appropriate during our mindfulness for the moment weeks in February, the weeks that we meet in February, to take some time to reflect on love and relationships. And we can think of that maybe in terms of relationships with ourselves, relationships with others, and relationship to the world, to the natural world, to our environment. So today I'd like to reflect, just take a few moments on the way mindfulness can help us to relate to, and maybe without sounding too corny about it, cultivate a deeper sense of love for ourselves, not in that kind of self-absorbed way, but in a way that promotes kind of a healthy valuing of ourselves. And one thing, when I start to reflect on that kind of self-love, I'm aware that doesn't always come easy. Definitely doesn't always come easy to me, and we seem kind of prone to this, more likely to be self-critical or self-judgmental. Friedrich Nietzsche said, we are our own worst enemy. That's thing's probably true a lot of the time. We are our own worst enemy in terms of how we see ourselves or treat ourselves. I know after working with people in psychotherapy for just about 40 years, I've unfortunately seen this to be true too often, this kind of really being hard on ourselves. Why is that? Because there's a lot of ways we could think about that or talk about it, things that contribute to this sometimes troubled relationship that we have with our own selves. For one thing, we are by design geared toward paying more attention to the negative. There isn't even a term for that, the negativity bias. And it's part of our survival network, and it's designed to protect us by prioritizing and interpreting the negative as a potential threat to our well-being. So it has us focusing on negativity a lot in that sense. And that's a good thing. But if it's left unchecked, that excessive focus on the negative can lead to a breakdown in a variety of ways, including our own way of seeing ourselves and relating to ourselves. And I think this is where mindfulness kind of comes in, it can be this a powerful instrument for change. And because in mindfulness meditation, we learn how to detach from all the mental conditioning and that automatic response, that threat response, that wants to judge and react and label everything. But really, instead, mindfulness is fundamentally about befriending. I like to think of mindfulness and the attitude around the practice as a befriending of our thoughts and our emotions and physical sensations. It's really not mindfulness practice to simply be aware of our thinking or to put up with the judging mind or to try to turn off our thinking. Not only is it not possible to turn off the mind, but to pronounce our own thinking as the enemy is to, in effect, declare war on ourselves, And no, the practice instead invites us to befriend our thinking. A university student who recently attended one of our weekend retreats seemed to get in touch with this attitude of befriending thoughts. And in the feedback form, the evaluation form, wrote these insights. And this is in the student's own words, but I've adapted it slightly to protect the student. But she wrote this: I sat on a wooden bench. This is on the retreat. I sat on a wooden bench above the waterfall and listened to the water. The overwhelming anxiety of my past mistakes flooded into my brain and chest. I watched the river of my thoughts flow in my full awareness and sat with my feelings in the present moment, but I could not shake the feeling of anxiety. Compartmentalizing didn't work. Trying to send them down the metaphorical river did not work. So instead, I got to know my anxious thoughts. Why were the anxious thoughts here? Where did they come from? And I held them closer as my anxiety and I both realized the worry thoughts were there out of self-love. My anxiety wants to protect me, and she wants to protect me because she loves me. If I can make this connection throughout my day when the negative feelings arise, my love for myself softens the intensity of these strong emotions. This connection is one that I will hold close to my heart as I continue on my self-compassion journey. So, to me, a moving reflection and insight into the workings of this person's mind, and I appreciated them sharing it in their feedback form. Because when it comes to our meditation, we try to bring our best self and we try to practice just as we are without us needing to change. Over and over again, we turn our attention to the present moment just as that moment is, and doing so in a spirit of acceptance and love. And we need this quality of friendship in our mindfulness practice so that our increased awareness does not become more judgment or excessively critical. In time and with the practice, we quiet the mind, and then we might find a new way of relating to that voice of the inner critic or that voice of anxiety. And as we come to little by little accept the present moment and everything in it, and without judgment, then we can develop this maybe a kind of grace towards ourselves and more of an inclination to accept ourselves as we work on accepting the present moment. So just in closing this, someone you might find helpful to support you in this kind of cultivation of friendship with yourself is Kristen Nift, an associate professor at the University of Texas. And Nift has been credited with conducting the first early on academic studies into self-compassion, term she used. There's a link to her work on our Mindfulness for the Moment resource page where the videos are. I'll have that in there this week. So let's begin our practice now and doing our best to adopt this friendly stance toward whatever is presenting, moment by moment, and doing our best to meet it with kindness and nonviolence, with curiosity and an eagerness to be with ourselves and whatever's here. And let's just see what happens when we de escalate the wandering and judging mind and begin to befriend ourselves in this spirit of love and self care. So, with that, let's let even our bodies speak of this self care by adjusting yourself in a posture that is relatively comfortable and also relatively alert and awake. Maybe just getting your feet flat on the floor, or if you're sitting on the floor, getting your feet and legs, situated so that there's a stability and a sense of grounding. And then let the upper body rise up, lengthening up through the spine, all the way through the back of the neck and leveling the head. And then placing the hands somewhere comfortable and supported, maybe palms facing down on the thighs or facing up, or hands gathered together in the lap. So that there would be a sense of not only just a kind of putting up with the moment or sitting here in a struggle, but that there might be a sense of a relaxed alertness and even a sense of dignity, that it matters that we're showing up for these moment by moment. And it matters that we're here. And so cultivating the practice in a way that allows you to become aware of your own body sitting here, the physical sensations of sitting. And when judgment starts to enter in, which it's likely to do, at least from time to time, then notice that as judgment and do your best to just let that go. I don't like how my body is right now. I don't like how it feels. That we can, in an act of friendship, we can accept ourselves as we are, not in a passive way. We want to make changes, it's fine, but not in that critical way. And so noticing now the body sitting here and maybe pointing that attention a little bit more refined, and also including an awareness of the breath in this moment, the physical sensation of breathing. And when the mind wanders, which it will do, then bring it back gently, as best you can, to the noticing the sensations of sitting here, breathing. notice what's happening moment by moment by moment in the body, in the workings of the mind, and the emotional states, and doing your best to simply notice with an attitude of a non-judgmental compassion, even toward yourself, as you might be experiencing yourself clinging to or rejecting things, that you can come to all of that with a spirit of uh, friendship and compassion. And perhaps adopting a kind of attitude of curiosity toward all that's presenting in the moment. And letting go of, as best you can, the habit of rushing to liking or disliking that which you're noticing. Divesting from the either or approach, the good or bad, the pro and con, and instead simply be curious and let everything just be in this moment as it is, just for this time as we're practicing. Where's the mind right now? And just make a note, notice whatever it's maybe caught up in, reacting to, then just do your best to let that go downstream and just come back to noticing yourself, your body sitting here, breathing. There's nothing else to do in terms of the practice. That's it, and that can be challenging sometimes. And so it's this discipline. There's a consistency that helps us to have, but with a light touch, not forcing the mind, not wrestling it down, but just noticing and then firmly bringing it back to the moment and the awareness of the body sitting here. As we bring this sitting practice to a close, I want to end with a short poem called Love After Love by Derek Walcott. The time will come when with elation you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life.